one of the things we had the opportunity to work with you guys on. You were putting a new machine tool in, and there was a foundation. And we were providing steel to support the foundation for the machine tool. And the hole that was in the ground, there was a full-size excavator inside the building in the hole, and it almost looked like a toy.
Most of the large machines, because they'll have a table that can hold 300 tons, and you think about it, it's parts that we're machining are sometimes 20 feet in diameter. We're on like a micron scale, right, or close to that in comparison to the size of the components that we're working with. So they have to be very stable piece of equipment. They have to be very precise, pretty incredible equipment.
Can you just talk about like how important the team you're building is at BWXT?
We talk a lot about the specialness of the factory and the equipment and all those things, but what really makes us special is our people. And we have to have the best talent for skilled trades, the best talent for engineering. And we've got a lot of procedures and policies and details that go into the work that we perform. And so we want to make sure people take the right time to get that mindset set correct before they go to work.
Welcome to Making Sparks, the podcast where we ignite your passion for metal fabrication and fuel your business success. Join industry leaders and dive deep into the world of metalworking. From business insights to tips of the trade, Making Sparks is your forge of knowledge. During each episode, discover success stories, innovative solutions, and expert interviews that light the path to business growth. Subscribe today and grow and improve your company, and let's make sparks fly together.
Welcome back to the Making Sparks podcast. I'm Casey Velker here with Matthew Nix, and we got a special guest today. I got to bring a guest on, and it was thanks to LinkedIn as someone reached out to me. It is Nate Foote, the general manager of BWXT Mount Vernon. And I'm going to go ahead and just let him kind of introduce who he is.
Well, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you welcoming me into your show. So as you said, I'm Nate Foote. I'm the general manager of BWXT's Mount Vernon site here in Southwest Indiana. I've been with the company for 15 years, and give you a little bit of my background, I guess. I've been with the company for a while and worked at 3 of our sites. I started actually in our Barberton, Ohio facility in engineering. So I have a civil engineering degree, actually, which is kind of a strange route to get into manufacturing. But started out in engineering and worked in that for a little while, worked as a manufacturing engineer supporting the different processes in our plant, and then stepped into operations and have been there basically the rest of my career. Worked in that factory, which is a pressure vessel factory similar to our Mount Vernon location. Was there for about 8 years, and then moved to our Lynchburg, Virginia location, which is a nuclear fuel component manufacturing facility. And I was there for a couple of years running a machine shop. And then been in Mount Vernon for the last about 6 years now. And I'm the general manager there now, trying to work to grow and develop the site. So it's been quite a ride.
Yeah, so give us a sense of what that site looks like in terms of head count, square footage, and
so it's a very large manufacturing site right on the Ohio River. To give you an idea, over the last 5 years, we've grown from around 300 employees. We're at 460 now, and continuing to grow. It's a heavy component manufacturing location, so things that you would see in that factory that are unique compared to other manufacturers. We've got a 500-ton crane system in our main bay that goes out over the Ohio River. In fact, there's 2 cranes, and you can join them together to make a 1,000-ton component lift onto a barge.
I believe that is that the biggest on the Ohio River?
I believe so. It's certainly the largest in this region. I think you have to go to like Memphis, Tennessee to find anything on that scale. So it gives us kind of unique capability for offloading and onloading barges and some services that we can provide to others in industry.
Yeah, for those of you that haven't seen that, and just to visualize what a 1,000-ton crane looks like going out over the river, I mean, it's absolutely massive. I mean, many football fields could go inside this thing, and I can't imagine the foundations that go into the columns on this thing.
Pretty incredible, and it's a factory that it started in the 1960s. It was actually designed for commercial nuclear component manufacturing. So in nuclear heyday in the U.S., as we were trying to build out the infrastructure for nuclear power, this was really a special design factory for heavy component manufacturing. So, and I think about a nuclear reactor. the biggest parts are like pressure vessels that encapsulate the reactor. They're kind of shielding and also containment for the pressure inside of a reactor. So extremely large hardware, things that you wouldn't really see in conventional manufacturing locations.
Well, how tall is that building? I've walked through it before, and it blows your mind. You have to kind of look for things sometimes to give you some perspective of the size.
So it's kind of hard to describe. Basically, like you said, the size of the footprint of that factory, just that one main building, which we've got several large manufacturing bays, but the largest is many football fields in length. And you have somewhere on 100 feet of overhead. So there's probably close to 85, 90 feet under crane. So we have significant overhead height for very large machines, large parts that we pick up and move around in the factory. So it's a unique place, and it's kind of challenging to describe, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just to again put it in perspective for folks, one of the things we had the opportunity to work with you guys on, you were putting a new machine tool in, and there was a foundation, and we were providing steel to support the foundation for the machine tool, and the hole that was in the ground. There was a full-size excavator inside the building in the hole, and it almost looked like a toy.
Yeah,
and that was just the hole for the foundation for the machine that's inside the building.
Yeah, so I mean, most of the large machines, because they'll have a table that can hold 300 tons, and you think about it, it's the parts that we're machining are sometimes 20 feet in diameter. Or thereabouts, and they can hold a tolerance of close to 5/1000ths of an inch. So we're on like a micron scale, right, or close to that, in comparison to the size of the components that we're working with. So they have to be very stable piece of equipment. They have to be very precise, and so we put foundations in for them that go down to bedrock, and they're independent of the factory floor. So pretty incredible equipment.
Yeah, absolutely. Casey, we forgot something.
I know, my dad joke. I was just waiting.
You're dressed like a dad joke
Thanks,
today,
man.
too.
Right,
You look like you're ready to go.
Yeah, at least he's color coordinated. Yeah.
You want to get into deer hunting with me?
I like to say it's a safety orange, so people don't run over me when I'm walking behind a fork truck with
so
a
if
camera.
you're listening today and you're not watching on video, Casey's got this checkered plaid high-vis orange shirt on and his high-vis orange hat on as well. So.
You want to know where I got this plaid shirt from? It was a hand-me-down from my 10-year-old nephew. He's a big kid.
Yeah. All right, what do you got for us today?
So I think this is a good one because you like sports. You like sports, Nate?
Yeah, I'm into sports.
All right, here's a good one. All right, why do all the farm animals, they don't want to play sports with the pigs?
I don't know why.
Because pigs are ball hogs.
That's a pretty good one today. We'll see what kind of clap you get from the editors.
Yeah.
So we had that.
They'll just cut it out.
We asked the editors, like we said, if it's a really good dad joke, you do like the roar applause, and then if it's like mediocre, you do like a slow golf clap, and if it's really bad, just put like the boo.
Yeah.
Like, boo. So we'll see what they give you on that one.
We'll see.
You suck. We don't tell them which sound effect. Okay?
Yeah, I'll try not to get us any more booze today.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I appreciate that. Because I'll probably get a few.
Yeah.
So, Nate, the equipment that you guys are using, projects you guys are working on, these big, audacious projects, I would imagine that you probably have a good criteria on who you need to hire, and you probably go after some top talent. Can you just talk about like how important the team you're building is at BWXT?
We talk a lot about the specialness of the factory and the equipment and all those things, but what really makes us special is our people. And we have to have the best, right? The best talent for skilled trades, the best talent for engineering. I like to think we've got pretty good leadership at the site too. But the reality is we're on a very important mission. And so the work that we do in that factory is supporting the U.S. Navy, right? So the majority of the hardware that we build, the pressure vessels, the steam generators that we're manufacturing go into the power systems for aircraft carriers and submarines for the U.S. Navy. So just to imagine what that means, it means that we've got exacting tolerances, extremely high quality standards. And so the work that we do is to exacting standards. The reactor plants that we provide to the Navy have to be in service for the life of these boats, right? So 40 plus years in service. In fact, aircraft carriers, the components that we provide are 50 plus years in service, and they go through a refueling cycle midlife. So these things, they have to work exactly right all the time for their entire life, and you can't have hiccups or quality issues that are gonna impact the capability of their systems. So when we bring people in, we obviously are looking for the best talent, but the starter for that is having the right attitudes. So we look around the country, for skilled, capable people in all the disciplines that we hire for, that will come to work with the right mindset, come to work thinking about quality of the components, thinking about their safety and the safety of those around them, making sure that they get their work done correctly each time. And so sometimes, we hear a lot, people that walk through the factory, it feels like things move slowly or progress slowly. It's because we want to get it right. And so you take a lot of time to get your thought processes in order and get your process set right before you go to work each day. We've got a lot of procedures and policies and details that go into the work that we perform. And so we want to make sure people take the right time to get that mindset set correct before they go to work. We, from a talent perspective, we're hiring. Obviously, we've been growing. I mentioned, adding numerous people. We're kind of tracking toward 550 or 600 people over the next couple of years. So we've been on a significant growth ramp because the demand for Navy shipbuilding has gone up. And so it's important for us to continue looking for that right talent. We've actually found that the best way to do that is find local talent as much as we can. We've gone through times where we brought in people from around the country. If they're the right type of people and the right mindset, right attitude, they make a good fit. But homegrown talent has always been the best. So we're working on programs where we can hire from local pools of talent, local skilled trades, local engineering students, and wherever we need to, we'll send them for training or development or provide them that training. Many times that's done on site, and in some cases, like we've built partnerships with programs like ATDM. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's the Accelerated Training Defense Manufacturing. Right now it's located in Danville, Virginia. And so things that we can do with that, we'll bring in, let's say, less skilled trades, people that have the right attitude, want to go to work, want to do things right, but maybe don't have all of the skills that they need as a welder or a machinist, QC specialist or NDT. And they also have programs for additive manufacturing. We'll send them to this accelerated training program for 4 months, and then we'll bring them back, and they're ready to upgrade into their next level qualifications.
So something you talked about off camera was you guys are you're getting ready to do a program with a local high school. Just tell us a little bit about that and why you think that's important.
Sure. I mentioned local talent. So one of the things that we found is important is engagement in your community. For us, we've done that in many ways, right? Partnerships with EREP here in Evansville, or local economic development partnerships, things like that. Volunteerism and outreach programs. But recently, we've been working with the local high school on initiating a welding program that's really designed to take students who are interested in the trades, but maybe don't have an opportunity to go to a trade school right away, or maybe would need to go away to a community college to start getting their skills, and bring that skills building into the high school earlier, so that they have opportunities to learn how to become a welder. Specifically, this is a welding program, how to become a welder while they're still in high school. And so what we're trying to do is create opportunities for local high school students so that they can get into the trades programs right out of high school. And so, for us, it's obviously there's benefit in it. If we can identify talent earlier, we can also show them that there's an opportunity to come to work for us right out of high school, or to get them into an opportunity where they see welding as a great career opportunity, and they could choose to go to community college or go to a trades program somewhere, and this gets them a leg up in that.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, this is Adam Schmidt with ProFab Alliance. I'm here to bring you your spark of knowledge for this episode. Let's talk about strategic planning. Any business can and should do strategic planning. It doesn't matter if you have a 3-person shop or if you have 150 employees, you need to do strategic planning. We're all human and nobody's perfect and we all get distracted. But if we've got that end goal in mind with our vision, we've got to have a clear path to reach that. And strategic planning can serve as that path. A single piece of paper can do the trick. To get the most out of a strategic plan, it's who's involved. Make sure everybody has a voice in the plan. The ideas that are generated through, just brainstorming sessions. It'll spark a thought in somebody else and it'll turn out to be at the end something that's great that could change the course of your business. Get out a scratch piece of paper, write your goals down, think about how you're going to measure them throughout the year. And then with that, you got to actually go back and measure yourself. With strategic planning, if you start with that single piece of paper, figure out what you liked from that year. What lessons did you learn? Where did you mess up? Improve for the next year. You got to trust the process. You're not going to see results overnight. If you're diligent about keeping track, keeping that scorecard, learning from that scorecard, making adjustments along the way to keep that improvement, you're going to notice year-over-year results from strategic planning. But overall, the main thing that you got to remember is you just got to get something put down on paper. Keep that with you, and you got to keep that scorecard and check the results.
When we're thinking about recruiting, one of the things that comes to mind for me is in our organization, we're really big on, I appreciate what you're saying about attitude, and I'm big on attitude, mindset. Those are the kinds of things we look for. And so I really focus on, we have a slogan, work that matters. And we talk a lot about that. I preach that within our organization, and we use it as a social media hashtag, and really want people that connect the meaning and purpose behind their work. And so I'm curious, the work you guys do, it's not hard to find meaning and purpose in that. I mean, if you're a patriotic person at all, or you just care about your general security of this country, it's pretty important work what you do. Some would say it's, of the most importance, but
I like to say that.
So tell us a little bit about how do you play on that with recruiting, and what are some things specific things? What are some specific things you would do to leverage that for recruiting? Because one of the things I tell people about recruiting is you have to be authentic. It can't just be a, Me Too kind of thing. It has to be, what's working for Casey might not work for me or you. We have to, what is unique about our organization, and let's pound that drum over and over.
Well, and I think people can sniff that out if you're not being authentic.
Oh yeah,
right?
people smell the BS a mile away.
Yeah.
And so things that come to mind for me, if I was recruiting for you, it would be the massive part size. Some people are going to be attracted to that. Some people are going to be totally intimidated by that. And what you want to do is weed those people out right away and focus on that. And then some people are drawn to the critical nature of what you do. And then some people would be detracted by that.
Yeah.
So those are the things that come to mind.
Well, obviously we want people to be encouraged and interested and engaged in the work that we're doing. I mean, I think the easy leg up that I get is I can go out and tell people there is no other place in the world that you get to do the things that we do, right? No one else in the world is supplying these types of components to the U.S. Navy. So from a mission critical nature, or from a tie to a mission, that's a pretty easy sales pitch, and the Navy helps me out with that, and the business does. So I think we can easily key in on those things, and we obviously, when we go out and we talk to people about opportunities within our business, we try to strike a chord on why we're unique, and why we're not just traditional manufacturing, right? Why we look for special types of talent, special types of attitude, and we don't want people to be intimidated by it, but sometimes that takes some initiative on both our part and theirs to come in and try their hand at it, and we'll help get them there. The skills that you need in our work are very similar to the skills you would have in any manufacturing environment. Sometimes it takes a little more, right, or a little more advancement or development of those skills, just because of the importance of the work that we're doing. So, for example, with a machinist, right? We want machinists that have experience in other work, machinists that have traditional machining capability or understand programming or the CNC controls for machines. We have very similar things. They're just on a grander scale, and you have parts on your machines that are maybe more expensive, more critical from a quality perspective, and so we take that very seriously when we want our employees to think it through, right? You don't just have a run of 100 parts in a day. You have one part that you'll machine for maybe could be days or months at a time, and getting that set of features correct is critical to allowing that to process to its completion. And so you can't have mistakes that are simple to correct or simple to prevent, because those will really slow you down and really impact the ability of our team to deliver our hardware on time. And so we think a lot about that. But from a recruiting perspective, I think if we go out and we talk to whether it's high school or college students or people out in public that are looking for a change, a change of career, we have advancement opportunities. There's lots of opportunity to grow within our factory. Obviously, as we're adding headcount and trying to grow the business, trying to grow the site, there's going to be opportunity for people to see growth in their particular careers. Go from one level to the next and advance in their line of work, or to try their hand at something different. We also talk a lot about what it is that we're providing, right? The U.S. Navy needs to continue delivering more submarines, more aircraft carriers. The Navy shipbuilding plan says we want 355 plus ships, and we're not there. So we need to move quicker. So that means more hardware, faster deliveries for us, and being able to talk to people about the mission that the Navy's on, and help them understand that we're on that mission with the Navy, right? We're here to deliver parts for them. We're here to help advance the nation's defense. If you can't get behind that, right, what are you going to get behind, right? So that makes it a little simpler for us to have that conversation.
Some things that I'm thinking about, and I want our audience to understand and visualize when I was talking about specifics. I've noticed your billboards don't typically, like they're recruiting billboards.
Yeah.
You're not out putting up billboards to sell work. So they're recruitment billboards.
Sure.
But they don't show anything. They don't have welding on them. They don't have any machining on them. They have very few words, frankly. But they'll be like a visual of a submarine on the billboard. And there's always some kind of slogan that goes with it. But that's very specific and targeted. Like the person that drives by the billboard and sees the submarine and is interested in that, man, I wonder what that place does. Like, you're already filtering out the people that are attracted to that or don't care about that.
Yeah, we want people to feel they can find purpose in a career with our business. Billboards in Evansville for selling nuclear reactors probably won't go a long way to helping our business. There's not a lot of people out in the market for those. So,
you don't think so?
Yeah. so
commercial reactors are making a resurgence, though.
They are, and that's a business we're certainly interested in, right? As BWXT, broader BWXT, not necessarily the nuclear operations group. The work that we do is almost solely focused on naval nuclear. Yeah, I think we want people to understand what we can tell them, right? The things that we can publicize. We want them to come in thinking, hey, this may be the right mission for me to be a part of. I'm interested in that. I'm driven by that. If you want to be a part of the nation's defense, this is a great place to do it. We hire a lot of veterans, and it's a point of pride for us. We like having people in our factory that can speak to the mission, right? And they can talk to their coworkers, and they can say, "Hey, as a teammate here, I served on one of these boats or ships, or I've been in the military, and I can tell you the importance of the work that we do here." That certainly helps.
I'll have to ask my dad. My dad was in the Navy, and he many times on a submarine, and he doesn't really tell me much about it. The one thing I know is he doesn't drink alcohol now, and he always says it's because he drank too much when he was in the Navy. So.
That's cool. I didn't know that about your dad. That's really cool.
He volunteers on the LST now, so he's retired.
Great,
so he's down there at least once a week, if not 2 or 3 times. And he's always down there. They're mopping the floors, and they're all everybody that works at the LST is all volunteers. So it's real. Other than
that's really cool. We should have had him here too. That'd be great.
He helped put up these.
Yeah, it's neat. I mean, our region has a
Could
lot
have had
of
a guy that was on a submarine and a guy that helps build the submarines on the same podcast.
Yeah, anytime I get a chance to interact with people who have served on an aircraft carrier submarine, it's great for me. It's a good experience and good to hear their stories. And it kind of ties us back to the purpose.
Do you guys do any like tours or anything for like veterans? Just this is kind of random, but I was like, man, I could see my dad being like, oh, that'd be really cool to walk around. I know that there's probably stuff that you don't want to show.
Right.
But.
Well, we'd love to. I mean, the thing about the line of work that we're in is the information that we have in our factory. It's owned by the U.S. government, the U.S. Navy, and so it's not something we can really publicly share. So we can't do public tours, but certainly anytime there's an opportunity for business purpose to have a veteran on site, it's a good opportunity. We try to bring in Navy officials or people who are active in the U.S. Navy to come and just again retie to the mission. Work with our employees or talk to them about the importance of their work. So.
And speaking of the sensitive nature of what you guys do, I just thought this was kind of interesting too. I think the audience would enjoy it. But I can go in there, because we do work in there. But for starters, they put a piece of tape over my backup camera. Of course, I turn my cell phone in before I go on site. It's a real pain in the butt when we have guys working on site down there, and we can't reach them.
You're saying we wouldn't be able to do any marketing videos there?
No marketing videos at Nate's place.
We can get you enough to help out. Yeah, send you the canned videos that we've taken.
The ones that are cleared already. But anyway, so no, tape the backup camera, no phones, all that jazz, and then you get in there. But then when you're in there, there's just sort of the normal stuff going on. But then even beyond that, there was an area that they were working on a new part or something, and it's completely closed off with some kind of a makeshift wall to hide that. And I don't know, maybe that was something new going on.
Yeah,
because even some employees in there maybe can't see it, right? Is that true?
Well, it's so typically the work that we do, if we have to protect it from release of information. So, we'll put up, barriers or those things. Like, for instance, if we have to bring a foreign national on site or that sort of thing, just not giving them visual access to the work that we're doing in the other areas of the plant. It's a typical secured facility, not to get into the details of the work that's going on inside the plant, but it's unique. Some of the security requirements that we have to work through, it can be challenging, but it's a unique challenge and it's worth supporting because of the importance of the work that we do.
Maybe you can answer this, maybe you can't, but do you have any participation in anything in the mission towards Mars? Is BWXT involved in that in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, so broadening out a little bit, right? Our site is naval nuclear primarily, but BWXT more broadly is involved in many unique or niche nuclear markets. The thing you're referring to, we've got a group within BWXT. We call it Advanced Technologies. It's basically a team that works on new or novel micronuclear systems, so reactors that can be used for space applications, terrestrial power applications, things like forward operating bases for the U.S. military. So you think about where places exist that we don't have easy access to power. And we can supply in the future these systems that will allow you to have those power systems wherever you need them. So space applications are certainly one of the things that we're working on. And you may have seen some of our public releases that kind of give you a sense. We've got reactor development underway that would ultimately be used as either power systems for transiting, from low Earth orbit into deeper space, transiting to Mars, or providing power while in space.
Awesome.
Yeah, very very unique opportunities there.
Again, our audience is leaders in the fabrication industry and the manufacturing and machining and stuff like that, but primarily fabrication. And some of the things that we've talked about in the past, but I would love to hear you when you're talking about mission critical processes and things like that. How important is it that you guys commit to processes and having processes in your facility? And what can you say to that?
Yeah, let's reframe. I like that question. Let's reframe it a little bit because I think how critical it is obvious. I mean, it's everything. But I think what it would be cool to hear is what are some actionable or concrete steps that you guys take to ensure that the processes are followed and adhered to? Because frankly, I think it's something we're struggling with in our own company with growing pains, right? And so, when it's, and maybe it's a little easier when everybody knows the consequence if this isn't right. But you still there have to be, just like before the airplane takes off, they have a checklist they go through, and you just do it every single time, no matter what. So talk to us a little bit about that, and how do you integrate that into the culture of the organization?
Sure. I think, so you mentioned it, right? In manufacturing, consistency of process is very important, right? You need repeatability in order to ensure success. Things like welding, right? You go through a qualification of the procedure, and you say, here are the parameters that we're going to set around this welding process in the future. And it needs to be followed each time until we authorize a change to that process. So basically giving a firm set of parameters for a particular process that are going to be followed each time, documenting that, providing it to the next person that's going to run that process. Some things that we do. Each of our processes are documented on paper or in a system where we've got it written down. Here are the instructions on how the process is to be run and the parameters that you're going to follow. We try to do things for machining. We have a set program. We lock that program in, and we say this is the way it's going to be run next time, unless there's a specific change that we make, and then we test that out. So there's a lot of work done up front for most of our processes, where we would generate the process initially, test it, lock it in so that it is consistently performed in the future, and then if you want to modify that process, you would go back through that same series of, here's the thing we want to change, let's test it and ensure it's going to work, and then we would lock that in. Okay, wherever we can, we automate. Wherever we're unable to automate, or it's not cost effective to do so, or it's a process doesn't make sense to automate, you would then put engineered controls around it. So that way it's basically following a repeatable process each time. Yeah, and I'm sure you guys do much of the same where you can on processes that are going to be repeated as well.
Yeah, I think and we certainly do. I think one of the challenges we run into is that, our variability of what we do is changing so frequently that, it allows, the standardization could and probably should be there to some degree, but it allows the break in that, because it's like, well, this is something different.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe it is, but 80% of what we're doing is still the same.
Yeah, and I think we see a lot of that as well. I mean, the training programs are vitally important. We use a training program. It's called SOJT. It's structured on the job training, where we have basically call it a checklist, if you will, of here are all the items that we want you to be trained on as you come into this scope of work or this job description. And that helps making sure that everybody's getting similar training or consistent training. Having documented training programs is important. And then just really continuously investing in the individuals. We certainly have some people in our plant that are very experienced, highly experienced, and then you have people who have been, probably 20% of my workforce has been less than 12 months on the job, because we're in a hiring and growth mode. So making sure that we have ways to capture the knowledge and experience from the more experienced employees to transfer that and translate it to new employees is important.
I was going to say, I think we're running out of time.
Yeah, I had a couple questions I want to ask him
All
at
right.
the end. So
Go ahead.
Are we ready for that?
Yeah, you do it.
So just some fun ones here. So I want to know what's keeping you up at night,
Sure.
and what are you most excited about?
Okay, well, I don't know that first one's a fun question necessarily.
It was fun for Matthew.
Yeah.
It can
Things
be
that
hypothetically.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a leader in manufacturing, right? First thing that always you think about what keeps you up at night. It's the things that make you nervous, right? Safety of our employees, right? We've got a great safety track record, and our employees are very diligent about their work, but there's always more you can do to make it better. And so I think about that a lot, think about the improvements of the processes. Growth of our workforce is certainly something that keeps me up, right? Trying to come up with new ways to recruit good talent, new ways to help our team learn, grow, develop, and trying to come up with whatever unique opportunities we can come up with to grow the team. So those are the sorts of things that really keep me up at night.
Cool. So what are you most excited about?
So there's a lot of things to be excited about in our business, right? The demands from the Navy are huge, and we got to do everything we can to support them. I get excited about continuing to see our team grow and get better. I'm excited about the future of heavy manufacturing, the future of our nation's defense, the future of our business, right? We talked about some things that are maybe not just naval nuclear reactors, but new applications for reactors. I'm just there's a lot of things to be excited about in our business.
Very, very interesting business. Awesome to learn about it.
Yeah, I think obviously, we try to keep these episodes pretty condensed, but we may have to have you come back on and talk more specifically about certain areas of the business and things like that. But thanks, Nate, for coming all the way over to Poseyville, Indiana, from a little bit bigger Mount Vernon. Yeah. But to our listeners, thanks for continuing to listen to us. If you like this episode, rate it, review it, share it with anybody you think that would find value. I'm going to share it with my dad. I'm going to share it to I have 6 brothers and sisters. I'll probably just send it. I haven't sent them any of our episodes actually, but this one I will. I'll send to them and say, hey, if you guys didn't know, we're doing a podcast and you guys should listen to this since, they're making some pretty cool naval things. So
yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys having me. Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yep. Thanks, Nate.